Hello there, and welcome to the party. More specifically, welcome to Side Quests, our weekly one-shot series showcasing a different game with a different crew every week. But before we get into the action, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. First up, Tabletop Loot, purveyors of fine dice. You can use promo code WTTPDICE to get 15% off your next purchase from tabletoploot.com. We're also sponsored by So Nerdware. Head over to SoNerdware.com and use promo code WELCOME to get 10% off your next order. So Nerdware, it's what the nerds wear. And of course, we are proudly sponsored by Roll20, the virtual tabletop that runs straight out of your web browser. Maps, character sheets, video chat, Roll20 has everything you need. So get started with a free basic account today by signing up at roll20.net/start/WTTP. And finally, if you'd like to support us directly, you can come check out our Patreon. And if you want to join in the fun, take a look at our Discord server. Alright, enough shilling. Let's go meet the players for tonight's game.
Hello, and welcome to the party. We are here tonight playing the Untitled Goose Game tabletop RPG. I am your game master or Goose Master, Ulfrig. And we will go around and I'll have the players introduce themselves, and then we'll go over some player creation or some character creation stuff, and then we'll get into the game. So we'll just go clockwise on my screen. So Portia, you are up next.
Hi.
Who are you? Where can we find you?
Hi, I'm Portia. I exist on the internet barely in the Twitterverse, but really I exist on Instagram as Mrs._OG Cron. Otherwise, most of my social media right now is actually robotics based, but that's a whole nother thing. So.
And Zed, how about you?
Hola. Me llamo es Zed. Hi, I am Zed. I am found on Twitter at ZEDECXZ, ZX at Twitter, or at ZX, whatever. I do this, I play games. I'm not currently doing anything in particular for Welcome Party this season, as I am working on super secret things instead.
The secretist.
Sounds exciting, and I will do my best to pry those secrets out of you during the break.
Honk.
So, Shin, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shin. I'm one of the relative newcomers to the channel. I find me on Fridays here at New to the Party playing a Mandalorian. And beyond that, I'm on Twitter at Shin_115. And tonight I am playing a
Goose.
lightsaber. Yeah, lightsaber goose.
Mm-hmm. Keeping the Star Wars theme going. And Boshi.
Hi, long-time gooser, first-time honker.
What?
Yeah, I'm Boshi_Adams on Twitter. Also Boshi_Adams on Twitch. And this is the second time I've gotten to play in this game specifically. And hopefully we'll be on more Welcome to the Party and Chromatic Chimera games in the days to come. In fact, actually, tomorrow I will be on Kobolds Ate My Baby on theirs. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
More small chaos creatures. Yes.
I'm going to run amok. So I look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
So a little bit about the game. This is the Untitled Goose Game tabletop RPG. It is based on the Untitled Goose Game video game. And each of our players is going to be a horrible goose. And to make their horrible goose, they get an item. If they want, they get a name. And then there are 4 stats, explaining for folks paying attention at home. We've got run, which is moving quickly, feats of agility. So if you want a ninja goose, that would be a very agile goose. You've got duck, which is moving stealthily or pretending you're a duck. You've got honk, which is persuading, intimidating, deceiving, just generally being the world's meanest goose. And peck, which is to pick something up, or if you want to fight something, because geese do indeed fight something. Ask any 3-year-old who has tried to mess with one. And in addition to this, we have another stat that is flap. So this is a roll low game, and you want to roll under your number. Numbers are 3, 2, 1, 0. It's a D6 system. If you want to increase your chances of rolling under your number, you can, as a player, physically flap your arms, and that will add 2 to the score that you're trying to roll under. So if you have a 3 in peck, you can flap your arms like a goose in real life, and instead of having to roll under 3, you have to roll under 5. Yeah.
Question. Does that mean 3 is the thing you're worst at then?
3 is the thing you're best at because it's
Okay.
roll low.
I wanted to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to roll ones on your die.
You want to roll lots of ones.
Oh.
So observant players may have noticed that one of your stats is a 0, meaning if you ever want to succeed at it, you will need to flap when you roll it. With that, let's
Same.
Yep.
Same. It's like, here, let me be stealthy.
So with that, let's go around again. We'll go opposite direction this time. And if your goose has an identifying object and or a name, go ahead and introduce those, and what your highest stat is. And if anyone needs any help with other creation, we can go from there. So Boshi, you are up.
Hello, I'm on the internet normally, and I am known as Goose Teeth, and you can tell it's me when I have my cyber hacking eye on.
That's amazing. And what is Goose Teeth, which I notice is spelled with all kinds of like elite misspelling?
It's G0053-7337H.
What is Goose Teeth's highest stat?
My highest stat is hunk, which is for hacking.
Awesome. Shin, your goose has a lightsaber?
Yes, I'm playing Lightsaber Goose today. Highest stat is Duck for stealth. And lowest stat is Honk. Not very persuasive, not much of a talker.
All right. And we have already lost one goose, Zed. While Portia gets back, we'll go to you.
Hello, I'm Monocle Goose. Yes. I have a run of 3 because I'm quite fast and dashing, you might say. But my duck is 0 because I do not hide.
Yes, for king and country and all the rest, indeed.
Yes, I am an exceptionally proud goose.
And Portia, tell us a little bit about your goose. So.
Well, you see, I'm knife artist Goose. I use my knife and I make art. But my highest stat is hunk because I like to mobilize the masses.
Yes.
To do awesome things. But I'm also not very stealthy because, well, I'm really loud and I have a knife.
Oh boy.
Okay, so not very much stealth going on in this game. There never is.
I have stealth, but then again, I'm an assassin goose, so.
You have a lightsaber. That's not stealthy. It's much bigger than my knife.
It is when I don't activate it.
Oh.
So, and Jedi can sneak. So Obi-Wan is the one who suggested hiding in the smuggling compartments on the Millennium Falcon when they got sucked in the Death Star. Not that I'm totally obsessed with Star Wars. Moving on. So the way that I run this game is I will set up a basic area. I will give you a couple of objectives, and then the rest is up to you and kind of whatever havoc you would like to create. So with that, it is a beautiful day outside the fancy Parisian restaurant Chez Canard, and everything is looking absolutely peaceful. It's about 4 in the afternoon. The restaurant staff have been there for hours getting things ready. The tables inside are set with beautiful white cloths. The plants on the railing outside have been watered. Across the road in the beautiful Royal Gardens des Palais, there is a family of geese waiting for this place to open. And in this wonderful Royal Garden des Palais, which I assume exists because I do research, you all have a wonderful goose lair. Where would you like for this goose lair to be? And what kind of space do each of you have in this lair, either shared or that you've kind of carved out for yourself, that kind of tells us a little bit about how your previous mayhems have gone? Jump in wherever you folks would like.
I
I have a
think
small shelf,
Mm.
and on the shelf I have a top hat, a scarf, a cravat, a child's retainer. I have a box with air holes. The box is sealed. Yeah, those are the
Is
things
the-
I have right now.
Are we hearing the
box
creature
meowing?
in that box?
No.
I think we just did.
You are hearing Oliver, the ginger troublemaker. This guy is a goose in cat form. Anyway,
Sweet kitty.
also a small collection of left-hand gloves.
But just the left one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you see, I've made a little space that's a studio, and I've gathered different materials so that I can be an artist. I've tried to gather paint, but mostly I end up getting berries. And so I have a bunch of little containers with a bunch of berries smashed in them. And then I've tried to get some paper uh, and different surfaces to make art on. But it's usually like corners of newspapers and stuff like that. So like I've not been very successful in getting whole things to draw on, but I've got stuff. And there's some finished pieces on the walls. And they're all
What are some of the finished pieces of, or would humans be able to distinguish the genius that is at work here?
You see, they just don't understand goose interpretations of other geese. They're family portraits.
Oh.
Yes.
Geese understand them. No one else does.
Okay, so I picture that Goose Teeth would have a corner somewhere like in a sewer or in a back alley or something that's just surrounded by boxes, all various kinds, and they'd have like a Betamax player and a CRT monitor and all kinds of motherboards and circuit boards and all kinds of various electronic equipment around him that are not at all working, but have various lighting decor set up on it so it looks like it's working but it's not, and he would sit in the middle like on like a broken gaming chair, like the wheels are just gone, like the part where for the wheels is gone, it's just the chair on the floor, and like basically would be surrounded by archaic electronics.
Is there any archaic piece of electronica that Goose Teeth is especially proud of? So like an old Commodore 64 or Atari or something like that?
Probably a original Game Boy that actually works.
I'm a little jealous of this goose, not gonna lie. Yeah, so you all are gathered in your lair, and it is 4 o'clock, which you know means it's almost time for Chez Canard to open. And this restaurant has earned your goosely wrath. It has earned your goosely wrath by daring to name itself after your sworn enemies. the ducks. How dare they? How very dare these humans refuse to acknowledge what is in fact quite clear? The awesomeness of geese. Why would you dare name yourself Shay Canard when you could be Shay Goose?
Shit, moose.
So it is time to head over to the restaurant and exact your goosely revenge on them. Outside the restaurant, it's
Gary, come here.
it's got beautiful little flowers planted in a couple of boxes. Looking in, and there's a little red carpet leading up to the doorway where just inside you can see a maitre d' stand on one side, some coat hooks, and some little seats on the other. Just beyond the coat hooks is an ice sculpture that gets remade every single day. It is an ice sculpture of, in fact, a beautiful duck. And
Destroying
beyond
that
that,
ice sculpture.
yeah. And beyond that are
Well.
a bunch of tables that have been beautifully set with white linens, wine glasses, 65 different kinds of silverware because fancy people need that. And there is a maitre d' nervously going about inspecting everything, trying to make sure that everything is exactly perfect just before they open up in about 20 minutes. What would you geese like to do?
I have berry juice.
Mm-hmm.
So, what color are the walls of this place?
They are white, like faux marble, and they've got all of these like fancy little wall sconces all over them. Just
Mm.
to
Quick question. I'm sorry. Do we need to sneak our way in, or is it assumed that we can make our way in? Okay.
somehow or other, you will have to make your way into this restaurant.
Okay.
So I want to make a mess.
This sounds like an excellent
Are
idea.
we all going? Are we all? I would.
You just
If
went
we,
super
if for
robot for
maximum,
me.
be quiet at the start.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Shin, one more time.
I think my internet's being weird.
Okay, well, you
I was
seem
saying-
clear now.
Is that okay? Is that better?
Yeah, it is now.
Okay, so as I was saying, if we want to cause the most chaos, perhaps we should enter quietly at first.
But if there's mess on the wall, they have to clean it and they won't be paying attention. I don't know about you, but
Excellent
I
point.
cannot
Go
look-
ahead.
I'm going to make a masterpiece.
You have fun with the walls.
Mostly
You have fun with that.
I'm gonna try to be like avant-garde, but also if any other geese see this, it is a call to arms to come and mess with this restaurant. That's what I want to do.
Delightful.
I will hold my head high and begin pat, sauntering my way towards the rear of the restaurant, where I presume the food deliveries occur.
Indeed, there is around the back a couple of horrible overflowing dumpsters, and the door leading into the kitchen, which is open to let some air in. Terrible French pop music is blaring from the speakers, and you can hear all sorts of people shouting and calling to each other as they're doing their prep for the day.
I will follow Monocle Goose, but quietly.
Okay.
So I'm gonna look around and I'm looking for something that I can specifically try to hack into. And when I say hack, I mean peck.
Okay. Let's see. Are you looking outside the restaurant or in the restaurant?
Outside the restaurant to see if I can find my own way in.
Okay. Let's say that around the front door is one of those big glass ones. So there's a glass pane on top and on the bottom.
Okay. Is there anybody there currently?
The maitre d' is inside, but seems to be busy doing fancy table linen things.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to open the door if possible. I'm going to grab the handle and try to pull it forward.
Cool. So let's get Shin and Zed, and then we'll come back and we'll see how the opening going. So we've got geese coming in from all sides. So Shin and Zed, could I get each of you Are you trying to barrel your way
I-
through the kitchen? Are you sneaking in? How do you want to do this?
Say the door is open and the music is blaring.
Mm-hmm.
Shin, take the lead. Do what you would like to do.
I'm being quiet about it, so I will roll for you.
Okay,
I believe that is duck.
that is duck for moving stealthily.
Okay, my duck is a 3, so behavior.
So you want to roll
That's a
3 or
2.
lower?
Excellent.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
I got the
succeed.
2.
What does it look like as you make your way into the kitchen from the back alley?
So because Monaco is probably a lot bigger than me, so I'm going to kind of use him as cover and like tuck my
Goose
head
Teeth, are you
down
hacking
and just
Zin?
scoot from. Sorry, am I not coming through
No, you were
properly,
robot
or?
again, but you're back now.
Sorry.
Don't give away what I'm doing.
So that you were making your way in, and then it's stealthily.
Tuck my
and
head down, hiding behind using
using the like
trash cans and like crates and whatever. Yeah, cover
So-
hopping.
all we see is this like goose kind of like zoom, 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 stealthing from one
Yeah.
thing in the dining room to the next. And Zed, are you just following, or do you just like barrel on through?
I hold my head high, my monocle quite dashing, as I simply flap, 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 waddle my way through the kitchen, just looking around, not causing trouble, but not hiding either.
So pretending that you believe there, perhaps?
Yes, I absolutely belong wherever I am.
Go ahead and give me a honk roll for deceiving the kitchen staff into thinking that you belong in this kitchen.
Okay.
First roll of the night.
Second.
Second,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes. No, the kitchen staff is not very happy with me.
So what is it that draws their attention to you?
My head poking over the cutting boards, staring at what they're doing.
So you poke your very long-necked head up over, let's say over the patisserie station, over the pastry chef's corner. And she sees you there and just lets out a amazing scream and goes, "Sacre bleu! An English goose in our French restaurant! How dare they invade!" So,
I go where I want. Translated as honk, 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 honk.
yep. And she is going to pick up her pastry scraper thingy and just start like trying to shoo you out the back door as quickly as she can.
Just trying to
Also in the
prank you.
kitchen, there are a couple of line cooks. There's the main chef, who is a big fat guy. The sous chef is a very short little man. And there's also a weird redheaded chef who never takes his giant like chef's hat, his toque thing off. So, but
Is
at the
it
moment,
possible
it's just
for
the
me to
pastry
grab
chef.
something on my way out?
What would you like to grab?
Well, if I can get that hat, that's what I want.
The hat on top of the redheaded chef?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna leave this up to you. You can either make a run or a peck if you want to dash over there to grab it, or if you're just going to try and bully your way over.
Oh no, I'm going to go very, very quickly, and I will half flat my way up in order to be able to get the height I need, and also so that I can roll this die. That's harder than I thought, but I got it.
Yes. So what does it look like as you go taking off over this guy and grab his hat?
It looks like utter chaos. My feathers are flapping everywhere, and I'm leaving down and nonsense as I hop up onto the counter and just leave goose prints in the dough and honk, 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 hop, hop on the hat, and then land and then start running away.
This is
And
amazing.
you land on the ground and start running away, still flapping furiously, and the kitchen is in shambles because on top of this redheaded guy's head is a little gray rat.
Yes.
So,
Oh
and
my
that-
god.
And
So I knew it.
How's it going,
Yep.
Remy?
So, and the little gray rat is panicking and it goes scurrying off the other direction as you go running for the door. Shin, no one has noticed you in the kitchen. Would you like to try and do anything? Or sorry, lightsaber Goose. No one has noticed you in the kitchen. Would you like to
Yes,
try
in
and take
fact.
advantage of the chaos?
Oh, yes. Is there within my reach, are there either a fire alarm or like a sprinkler within like a quick scurry for me?
I'll say that there is a fire alarm on the wall because it's a kitchen, so they have to have them. And it's one of those where you smash it and then you pull the tab down so that it doesn't get set automatically or accidentally.
You have to break it and then pull the tab down, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Is there anything that I could use that I could grab nearby that would allow me to hook the tab and pull it down?
You would have to smash the little glass covering first. But
I
there's
have a lightsaber. This is not a problem.
Okay.
I mean, that's very accurate.
Yep, pretty much.
Can you actually believe I forgot about the lightsaber for a second?
Like, but you're a goose. How will you smash glass? I will melt it.
Is it a for real lightsaber or is it like a replica?
I don't know.
It should be one of those ones that just
leave
push
that
in.
to GM discretion.
Actually, I was going to say, Shin, what would you prefer?
I mean, for maximum chaos, I would prefer a real one simply because it's a bloody lightsaber.
Lightsabers are real, and one of them is in Paris.
Yes.
So you are easily able to
This was a good choice.
lightsaber your way through the glass. Looking around you, there is all sorts of kitchen implements. There's looking at my kitchen. There are wooden spoons, there are whisks, there are potato mashers, that's the name of them, that have like the flat handle and then the wires that kind of go at an angle. There are lemon zesters and melon ballers and all sorts of things.
Okay, is there anything that looks like I could use it like a hook?
I would say the melon baller might be your best bet for that. It looks like it might fit in there pretty easily.
Okay, sure. What do I have to roll to grab it and like use it to hook?
So I'm going to give you a choice on this. It's either peck for picking up and hooking or run for a feat of agility. Because I can imagine if you only have a beak, trying to use a melon baller and manipulate it to a hook is pretty, it requires some agile work.
It requires some thumbs.
Yeah, that too. That's the one thing I can't do.
Or hands.
Okay, you know what? I'll go for peck. Yeah, I'll go for peck because I have a higher score in that. I have a tie. I have a 2. And I roll.
You succeed if the result is equal to or less than. So that is a success.
Great, then excellent. I will pull the fire alarm.
So you get this melon baller in your mouth and just or in your beak and just somehow manage to lever the tab down. And all of a sudden, and backing up from my microphone, whoop, 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 whoop. All of this noise comes booming in over the kitchen as the rat is still running
And
around the counter. Oop, go ahead, Shin.
I scurry back under the nearest counter sorry, I was going to say I'm just going to scooch under the nearest counter to hide and observe what's going on.
Mm-hmm. So Zed,
Like
the
using...
pastry chef is still kind of spatula-ing you out the door. Meanwhile, everyone else is chasing after this rat as you hear these alarms go off. Just as the pastry chef kind of manages to boot you out the back door, but you know Shin is still inside. And standing over you is a very angry looking French woman with a pastry knife. Is there anything that you would like to do?
I straighten my feathers. I give her an indignant look, and then I waddle away around the side. My work here is done for now.
Excellent. We will pause the kitchen for a moment and come back, and we will head back to the front of the building with Goose teeth. Oh, that's going to be a thing all night. And artistic or knife artist Goose. Knife artist Goose, you were wanting to paint the window, or were you wanting to get inside for?
Oh, I was wanting to make people come out by there being a big crazy thing on their walls when they're wanting to be so pretty and neat.
Okay, so you want to paint on the outside of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Give me.
I also want to I want other geese to see this, and it'd be a call to arms of come mess with this restaurant.
I'm gonna say, go ahead and give me a honk roll.
Yeah.
And as I am painting, I am flapping to get up higher.
Can I see what that flapping looks like? So just flapping little tiny wings,
Little
like a hummingbird.
Yeah, well, I'm being artistic about it.
Okay.
Artistic flapping.
Yay!
So
I
that is
rolled
a
a
success.
1.
What is this goosely masterpiece that you have painted on the side of this building?
So again, it's not words that humans can read, but geese know. It is a mural of a duck with its head cut off. And it says beneath, "This restaurant has offended us. They call themselves Duck."
How
No more
do you
duck.
communicate that in Goose?
In art.
With a footprint.
Don't start with me.
All right, so a decapitated duck surrounded by goose footprints. I imagine some smearings from painted wing tips as well.
Yep.
Yeah, the maitre d' sees this and comes and starts looking out the window at you. And Goose Teeth, go ahead and give me your peck roll to see if you are able to get through the door as she is distracted by what's going on with. And go ahead and roll. Yeah, let's do this with advantage. You can roll 2d6 since knife artist Goose has successfully distracted the maitre d'.
This is my intention. Like he said.
Are you just going to honk for the rest of the night? That's not going to get old.
So, okay, so I'm going to open the door and try to get inside this place. If I have to, I will try to hack the door.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and give me that good old peck roll. So, and 2d6 since knife artist Goose is helping out.
Oh, perfect. And it's peck?
Mm-hmm.
Peck, okay, perfect. I fail. I got a 2. I have a peck of 1.
Oh no.
Oh, so you succeeded. Peck of 2 and you got a 1?
No, other way around.
Oh, peck of 1.
One.
All right, so how does this go so poorly?
So I picture that I am standing in front of the door, and instead of trying to pull it, I lift up one wing and I'm like, and then the eye starts glowing as I'm trying to pull it forward, but it does not move.
So you are trying to like mind will this thing
Hack
open.
the door. It is not opening.
So, and as you're standing there staring furiously at the door, the maitre d', who has been watching knife artist Goose, knife artist Goose, just paint away, going all like Goose and Pollock on this wall. suddenly notices, the puns don't get any better, I promise, people. Suddenly notices you staring intently with your little goose wing at the door, and comes over and comes up to the door and just goes shoo, 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 shoo. What would either or both of you like to do?
So she's been watching me paint, and I am
Mhm.
covered in my paint. And so I will, staring at her, run my ink covered wings along her walls, all the way up to the door.
Oh.
And when she tries to go after her because of the paint, I'm going to jump inside.
Give me Knife Artist Goose, give me a honk roll for that very keen intimidation, I would say.
Okay, now I have to remember what my hunk is. My hunk is 3.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 2.
Nice. So you are just dragging your hand, making aggressive eye contact the entire way across. And this maitre d' sees it and she turns red. Oh, she is furious. How dare these geese do such a thing? And she starts banging on the window. And you just keep staring. So then she comes around and she opens the door. And this is a perfect French accent, do not question it. And she flings open the door, and she has going for a hose that is on the side of the building there that she is going to squirt you with.
I'm chasing her down the way and throwing my juice at her.
I'm going to call that entering combat, so give me a peck.
Can I be flapping while I throw it? Can I go?
Totally.
Okay.
Goose Teeth, do you want to do anything as well?
Yes, I want to jump inside the place because she left the door open.
Give me a run roll for that.
You said peck?
Yep.
Okay.
And I am flapping.
I
tied, so I get it because I flapped.
Nice. So what does it look like as you squirt your berry juice all over this unsuspecting maitre d'?
It's an open container. There's no squeezing. I have thrown the whole thing at her. Just berry juice, and it's not light. It is blackberry, mulberry, dark stained juice. So I'm imagining she's wearing like her very nice fancy white coat thing, covered in berry juice.
What was previously like a very nicely fitted like black skirt, cute little flats, white top, buttoned, now is just like the prom scene of Carrie, just absolutely covered in goose juice.
Juice.
Goose paint, which is totally a sentence I thought I would be saying when I woke up this morning. And meanwhile, Boshi, you have managed to dash inside.
Yes, I rolled a 3 and my run is 2 with plus flap.
Nice. So you get inside. She is covered in this juice and it's like in her eyes and in her face. And like this French woman, she just does not know how to cope with this.
And I just waddle inside.
Oh yeah, totally. You can just
I need more
paint
now, though.
You need more paint.
I need more paint.
Worry not, my goosely friend. All right. We will pause with our 2 geese having just gotten inside the restaurant and head back around to the kitchen, where there is a fire alarm going off. There is a rat running through the kitchen. There is a goose in the back alley looking like someone has affronted his dignity indeed. What would our kitchen and back alley geese like to do?
Monica, you want to go first? You go first. It's fine.
I was actually just about to be like, Zin, why don't you go first? Actually, I would prefer it if you went first because I want the maximum potential for chaos to allow me a greater chance of entry back into the restaurant.
Okay. From my position under the counter, do I see any stoves?
Do you see any stoves? Yes, they are fancy. There are like 3 rows of cooking stations. So the patisserie one is kind of near the back door, and then there's like a chopping station kind of back there near the coolers, and then there is an entire row of like fry stations. So gas stoves on top and gas ovens underneath. And then the closest to the restaurant is like the plating area, so it's basically big open tables with like lights very close up top.
Are there any sort of like pots with stuff in them, possibly on the stove area?
There are pots with stuff in them on the stove area.
I still have the melon baller in my beak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I, holding it like straight up, basically, if there are any handles poking out, I want to just use the melon baller to hit the handle and knock it off, basically, while I just zoom past.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna make you roll for that because that's just hilarious. So what does it look like as you cruise along these stoves and knock?
You just hear clang, crash, clatter as like 4, maybe 3 or 4 pots just like go everywhere. So there's sauce, there's soup, or don't know what, just spilling all over the place. Which probably makes it more slippery for the humans.
It does indeed. So the first one has some sort of like bouillabaisse type thing in it. So those white creamy stuff goes flying everywhere. Boshi, I can't even look at you right now.
Just saw it. I just saw that. Oh my God.
I'm in.
There's like a bouillabaisse. The next one has something tomatoey in it. Actually, tell you what, I will get you to go ahead and do a give me a duck roll for this, just because I have an idea for something that could go wrong.
Oh, good, that's a 1.
Okay.
I'm safe.
Yeah, so absolutely nothing happens to your delightful goosely self as the last 2 pots come down. The last one coming down, and the rat who has been hiding underneath that oven sees it and squeaks indignantly at you. So
I ignore him. He's a rat. He's not worth my dignity.
We have to pause. One of our geese has turned into a spider.
Oh no. Oh my God.
They'll be fine by the time we get back out front, I think. Oh.
That's my scream of fear.
Also,
how many pairs of sunglasses do you own?
Well, these are just the ones that are at my desk.
Oh my God.
My friend forgot these. These are my normal ones. Or, well, no, these are my normal ones. These were like these Men in Black ones that I got from the theater. And
See,
these are my regular glasses.
I just have my cases, but all my glasses are not here.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Actually,
I apologize for that. Zin, did you finish what you were?
Yes, I finished my
I
thing.
interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I finished my thing and I've ducked under another counter.
Okay.
You've just heard the sound like pots and pans being thrown down the stairs.
clank, 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 sploosh.
So is the pastry chef still looking my way, or is she dealing with the nonsense happening behind her?
Once you waddled a couple of feet away, she decided that was good enough for her, and she has turned her attention back inside, and you can hear her swearing in French alongside all of the other noises that are coming out of that kitchen.
I will turn right back around and attempt to just run my way right past her into the dining hall.
Awesome. Give me a run roll, and since we have tons of chaos, we'll make this an advantage. So 2d6, and if either succeeds, you succeed.
Sweet. Woohoo! I succeeded on 1. Okay. So I just go right on past her. Flop,
nice.
Flop, 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 flop.
Do you still have your chef's hat?
Yes, I never let it go. It's still in my mouth.
Okay.
in your beak.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, A is beak.
However, now that I'm in the dining hall, I will drop the chef's hat because there is an ice sculpture.
There is an ice sculpture. If folks have gotten into the restaurant, let me go ahead and do a bit of describing. If I can,
Because the moment that this French lady is being like, I can't see, I'm like, then I'm going inside.
Mm-hmm. And you just waddle your little loosey-goosey tushy right on in. And
stained in berry juice.
Stained in berry juice.
And everywhere. Like I'm probably leaving footprints all over the floor.
Definitely. And so inside it is fancy French restaurant. Every fancy French restaurant you have ever seen in a movie. Ratatouille is my go-to, as you may have guessed. So there's a bunch of white tables. Right to the left of the front door is the maitre d' station, with the ice sculpture off to the right just a little bit. There's about a dozen tables, most of them round with various chairs set up around them. The room itself is L-shaped. And at the inside corner of that L is a big tank full of fresh crabs and lobsters and other seafood that the crew have ready to go. The windows all have these great big fancy like Louis XIV drapes with these in white drapes with these incredible curtain ties that are this big thick gold rope with these huge gold tassels at the end, and in the restaurant, which is a little bit unusual because it's not technically open yet, seated at the corner table is an old slender French man who looks very impatient, and there is nothing at his table except for a bottle of red wine. So, my goosely friends, what would you all like to do?
So, if I may, in my dash from the kitchen, the table that the ice sculpture is on, does that table have a tablecloth on it?
It does not. No. It's on like a fancy little pedestal thingy.
It's on a pedestal.
It's on a fancy pedestal.
Okay. Well then, the lady who is like cleaning herself of juices, I will run to her and honk at her in the hopes that she will chase me.
All right, go ahead and give me a honk roll to see if you can persuade the maitre d' to chase after you. She is currently standing by the front door, just using one of their fine white linen napkins to wipe all of the gunk off of her face.
Well, I will make myself big and intimidating so as to make it clear that not only am I not one to be messed with, but that also she absolutely should be messing with me. And I succeed at a 3 under a 4, and I then run towards the ice sculpture, attempting to get the ice sculpture in between me and her.
Yeah, so you run and, dare I say it, duck behind the ice sculpture.
You dare not.
And we are breaking our producer behind the scenes, and it always makes me a little happy when that happens. And so you run behind the ice sculpture, and she is following you, and she is coming skidding right up to the ice sculpture, and she's on the other side. And now we've got that kind of classic schoolyard situation where there's one stopped on one side and one on the other, and you're doing that thing back and forth.
So I see red stuff. I want paint.
Yeah, I'm happy to be in a standoff for the moment as other people do their thing.
Okay.
Are there any electronics in this area?
The maitre d' station next to the door is one of those fancy ones with like a touch screen and stuff where they can tap to show who they've seated at which table, and they can just quickly tap to add the what they've ordered right onto it.
I would like to go up to that and erase all the information I can on it.
All right. Give me a peck roll for this one.
I will flap, because I probably have to jump up to it.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see the die.
I wonder why, my friend.
Yeah, at this point, I have no questions.
That was a peckerel.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 2 minus 2, so 0.
So do you tie?
Well, my peck is 1.
Ah, okay. So you rolled a 2, your peck is 1, and you were flapping. So you wanted to roll under a 3, so you succeeded. Yeah. So what does it look like as you fly up to the maitre d' stand and start pecking? What happens on the screen?
So I picture I jump up onto the seat that they might have had there, and I waddle up to the touchscreen, and I start pecking at it and pushing my eye on it and trying to get it to do what I want to erase all the information that is on there so I can successfully hack this restaurant.
Yeah. So because you succeeded, not only does this fancy maitre d' station have like the ability to input orders and stuff, but it will like automatically, it connects to the fridge and it will automatically like update the fridge inventory. And let's say, because Maximum Chaos is the name of this game, that there are even like little robots that will come out of the fridge and move the food in the fridge to the prep area once any sort of like meat thing is ordered. So Shin, back in the kitchen still, where all of the chaos is happening, you see these like little R2D2 size robots with little plate things on their head come out and slide these plates of various things onto counters back behind you, back on the prep station. And this
So I
is
can't take you seriously.
horrifying, by the way.
I can't take you seriously in that.
This is utterly horrifying. The different
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it's like for the actual viewers.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. So these little robots come out and they start putting like little filet mignons and any other kind of steak that exists on counters back there before zipping back into the fridge. And meanwhile, the screen itself is just blinking all of these beautiful, beautiful colors that Knife Artist Goose would probably be quite proud to see the work that you have created as a piece of like live performance art on this maitre d' stand.
I'm sad that I can't see it, but I want paint, so.
You said those little droids went in the fridge, in the freezer area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I reach the freezer controls?
They are on the maitre d' stand. Yeah, let's say there's another panel back by the freezer door.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to go over and basically lock them in the freezer.
Thump, 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 thump. Crush, 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 crush. Yeah, that sounds great. I like it.
How are you going to do this? Are you?
What's the state of the kitchen right now? Are they all still? Are the humans still distracted chasing the rat?
The humans have given up on the rat. Most of them piled out the back door, we'll say, except for the one with the red hair who fell on the ground where you spilled all of the sauces and stuff. And he is looking under the oven trying to convince the rat to come back out, but the rat will not come back out because there is an angry goose that just messed up all his food right there.
I'm gonna just walk behind, like just scooch around behind the guy, and just, if no one else is here, I'm just gonna walk straight up to the freezer controls.
Nice.
Give me a peck to see if you can manipulate the freezer controls, please.
Sure. 2. Equal or lower. I got it. Probably with a little stretching because I'm not a very tall goose.
You got it?
Yep. I have
Awesome.
a 2.
Yeah, so you successfully lock. Meanwhile, Goose Teeth is still out in the main area pushing buttons. And so, yeah, all you hear from the other side of the door is like, whir thunk, whir thunk, whir thunk. as these little robots are trying to wheel their way out of a door that will no longer open.
Is there anything else I can do here, or like, I mean, before we move to the other folks, is there anything else I can do, or?
Portia's been waiting quite a while to find out how her
Please,
paint
go ahead.
gathering goes, so we might
Go
go ahead
ahead.
and jump over there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Hmm.
all right.
So remind me, where is this bottle of red wine?
So at the furthest corner from either entrance, there is a gentleman sitting with his back to the windows, which is impressive because there's windows like all around him. And the bottle of wine is on the table in the middle, kind of in front of him, and he's got a single glass with 3 fingers of wine in it in front of him that he is.
Does the glass have a stem?
It does.
Okay, so
Uh-oh.
So I observe this gentleman, and while I'm not being stealthy, I'm also not being like yuck, 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 yuck all the way up to him. I'm just wandering over, and I'm gonna settle right next to him. Yuck!
And that's what it sounds like, is that big honk
With the flappy in his face, like I'm like jumping up at him.
Give me a honk roll. Let's see if this works.
With my flap.
So you gotta keep flapping or it doesn't count.
I only just died. Oh my God, I only just died.
So what happens as you saunter on over, this kind of sour looking old man is got his hand on the wine glass and he's just kind of looking at you as you come over, and then you do your honk, and what is his reaction?
My hope is that he had taken his hand away from the glass long enough to knock the entire bottle over as he like jumps to get away.
Okay, yeah. So
I just want the glass. I don't need the whole bottle. I just need some. And I can hold it in my beak.
Ooh.
You can hold it in your beak. Okay. So yeah, he has taken his hand off the stem of his wine glass and is kind of holding it out towards you, like, please don't come any closer. Please don't. And then you lunge at him and he stands up and just like sacre bleu and just like does an amazing drag queen what and knocks the bottle of wine off the table, and then he's and tries to gather himself and is trying to pick up the wine because it is a very nice, like 68 Burgundy, and oh my goodness, there aren't that many bottles of that left. So
I wave my knife at him.
Man, now I wish I had a replica lightsaber here to use.
he reaches onto the table and grabs the butter knife and picks it up and holds it out at you. And
I flap, I run it at him, I'm waving my knife. I'm biting with my beak.
So is your intent to intimidate, or do you want to like drive this man away via package?
I don't know if I would win in a fight. I've never been in a fight. I'm an artist. I don't get in fights. But I am convincing. So I'm scary.
This is a performance. You are enacting your goosely toughness. Go ahead and give me that honk roll to see if you can convince this old man that he should not seek revenge for his Burgundy.
I'm imitating Zen with a lightsaber.
Success.
Yes.
So
I am inspiring.
So let's say this old man, he sees you coming, his resolve melts, he drops the butter knife and he backs into the window where he is all of a sudden tangled in one of those giant white curtains. As the sash that was keeping it back gets torn down, and yeah, he is in there, and it's little kid, it's like cat under the blanket when you're making the bed, just like cannot find exit to this thing at all.
Once he does that, I go back to his table and I jump up on the chair and I pick up the wine glass with my beak. I have
Give
paint
me-
again.
Give me a peck roll to see how well you are able to manage that wine glass, how much of this delicate paint you spill.
I was jumping up while I was doing it. And I'm trying to remember my numbers again because I'm bad at this. Where are my numbers?
So
there they
for
are.
you, your peck is a 2. Since you are flapping, you need to roll a 4 or under. You rolled a 1. You succeed. Yeah. You
Nice.
hop up and with the utmost delicacy and grace, tilt your head to the side and take the stem in your beak and and waddle back out of the and waddle to wherever it is that you would like to go next.
There's all these
All right.
tablecloths.
There's a lot of tablecloths. And I will set a challenge for someone that at some point it would be excellent if one of these tablecloths could have the magician trick where you pull it out and see if all of the table settings stay in place.
I was going to do that with the ice sculpture, but it wasn't an option.
Mole.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That would be a chaos.
Pick another tablecloth.
I apologize for having to run away. Am I still in lock with the waitress lady?
You are indeed still doing the schoolyard shuffle with the waitress lady.
Is it my turn?
Sure.
Goose Teeth, Shin, are there anything that either of you would like to do?
I'm good for now. Zed
I
should
can
take
go
his
after
turn.
him.
Okay. Yeah, Zed, go for it.
Okay.
You folks can also work together if you would like. Like, there's nothing that says the geese must cause trouble separately.
Fair.
Maybe
Or-
I will be inspired again.
You're gonna have all these paintings of us just causing mayhem.
It's
So
gonna be great.
I go to the side, and then she goes to the side, and then I go to the side, and then she goes to the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go forward. What'd she do? Like I go into I'm trying to push at the thing. Push at the pillar.
Are you like body checking the pillar?
Yeah.
She steps forward, then realizes there is a thingy there, and is not quite going to bump into it. Are you trying to knock it over?
Then in the absence of her doing it, I'll give it a shot.
Your choice. It can be either a run or a peck roll for that, depending on if you're just moving quickly and bombing this, or if you're like
I
combating
will
it.
be flapping for extra speed as I run. Yes, I made it barely. I got a 5 under a 5.
Nice. So what does it look like as you go crashing into this pedestal?
Just a tangle of my head and neck going one way as my body goes the other, and the duck sculpture flying through the air as I'm like rolling over the pedestal.
It is
Wow.
total mayhem. Yes, there's like camera panning in the opposite direction of what the duck sculpture is flying. And this
Oh my
duck
God.
sculpture flies, and not only flies through the air, it flies right smack into the front window, where both the window and the ice sculpture shatter.
Yes.
And the maitre d' shrieks and covers her head as ice and little pieces of glass rain down around her.
Honk honk honk
And she
honk
is
honk.
covered in berry juice that looks suspiciously like blood. I can imagine several things happening from here. But yes, the pedestal is down on the ground next to the maitre d', and the duck sculpture has been destroyed.
Yes.
Yes. Yuck, 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 yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. Because I have a glass in my mouth now.
What would anyone
so
else like to do?
I'd like to leave that pedestal thing with the computer, and I'm going to step into the further entrance of the restaurant, and I want to start grabbing every single one of the tablecloths that I can find. I need to bring them all somewhere else.
So you're just grabbing tablecloths.
Yeah, just grab one and then grab the next and then grab the next and then grab the next as I'm just walking past them.
Okay, give me so these will be pecks because you're grabbing something, picking something up. How many dice do you have?
I have flapping dice. That's what I have.
Roll basically as many dice as you have and tell me how many successes and how many failures. Playing a little bit of Calvin Ball here, but it's a one-page RPG. Who cares?
Okay, that is one success. And that is still one success. And 2 more successes. So I have, out of 8, I got 3.
So 3 successes, 5 not successes.
Yes. So I missed 3. Or 5,
yes.
rather. I missed 5.
Okay, so the first table that you go to, whoop, tablecloth comes off beautifully. And you even manage to like spin and swish it around you. So you're wearing it like some sort of beautiful, extravagant, avant-garde cape. It will be all the rage in the couture houses next season, I am sure. You go up to the next one, same thing, you manage to grab it off, no problem. Third one, you grab it with such vigor and force that the cutlery stays there. And then hubris is your downfall. So you go for the 4th tablecloth and you try and grab it, and it's rain of tableware all over the place, all around you, and you are trying so hard to still get this tablecloth, but you are tangled up in your beautiful tablecloth capes. And as you are trying to run, you just succeed in making yourself into a little goose tablecloth mummy. And you fall over, and you are now one stuck goose in the middle of the restaurant.
Oh no!
Was I impressed until he messed up?
That's up to you.
I think so. It was beautiful, and then it was awful.
I apologize for coming in somewhat out of turn, but I have a thing that I waddle my way towards Portia's goose, towards artist goose,
Knife
artist goose. Yep.
And while maintaining eye contact with the waitress lady, put up one wing for a high five, a high wing.
Yes.
I put up my berry stained wing.
Gentle nudge.
I am not
and then
gentle.
I continue waddling around the place.
I'm not gentle. I want to stain everyone. Stain!
Honk, honk. Honk, honk.
Yuck!
So it's like one nonchalant high five, one vehement one, but
Yes.
It doesn't matter because all you hear is a whoomph as feathers meet feathers.
Yes. just like lock stare at the waitress lady.
Like, we win. We win.
And the waitress lady is looking up at you with just like absolute befuddlement in her eyes. When everyone in this room sees her see the swaddled goose in the middle of the room. And you see the idea form in her head that maybe she can get rid of one of these noxious creatures. And she manages to pick herself up. And she manages to pick herself up, still dripping this dark crimson berry juice all over the place, and starts walking with this like absolute injured determination towards Goose Teeth. What would you like to do?
I'm stabbing her in the foot.
Stabbing her in the foot
My God.
and shin. Shin, you also had your hand up.
Yes. So with having heard Knife Artist Goose, the frantic honking, I assume that I would be alerted to the fact that there's trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to get into the main dining area from the kitchen from where I am?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay, great. Are there any remaining pots or whatever that have contents still in them?
Let's say that you have
Or,
successfully
like,
knocked off
plate.
all of the saucepans and stuff.
Okay.
But the critic had ordered some soup, and the soup is sitting in the staging area waiting to be taken over to the grumpy old guy's table.
Where'd the critic go? Is he still
He is
here?
currently trapped in the curtains.
I
Oh
might
yeah,
have-
that's right.
I might have intimidated him because he picked up his butter knife and went after me. And I jumped and yelled at him and ran after him. And he got so scared that he ran into the window and the curtains, and now he's tangled in the curtains like a cat under a comforter. And now I'm trying to stab a lady in the foot. So,
Normal day in a goose's life.
So you are picking up, so Shin is
I would
picking
like
up
to
soup.
pick up the soup and yeet it at the lady who's trying to pick up my friend.
Yeah. Okay, for both lightsaber Goose and knife artist Goose, may I please get peck rolls for picking something up
goodness.
/ entering combat, and flapping from both of you there. Yep.
Success at 3.
Amazing.
3 out of 4.
And a failure for knife artist Goose.
Oh, no!
I rolled a 6.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh dear.
It's not meant for stabbing.
For what it's worth,
God.
geese
No,
are
the
not
problem is-
known for their skill at like just blatant confrontation, like physical.
Biting.
The problem is you picked up a butter knife,
I
Yeah.
always
What
had
knife?
my knife. This is my knife.
but you were still holding the butter knife from earlier, so you were trying to stab her with the butter knife.
Oh.
So lightsaber Goose, you do indeed yeet this soup. What kind of soup is it? What does it look like as it goes flying through the dining room?
Do indeed yeet the soup.
It's tomato soup. So
It's
it's
tomato
red,
yes.
it's messy, and it's just gonna go everywhere.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So yeah, this poor maitre d' lady is already covered in crimson berry juice. Now there is a fresh layer of red tomato bisque on top of it that has come onto.
Is
And
it
it
cold or
catches
is it
her-
hot?
Tomato
They
bisque.
said it was.
would
They
be-
said it was going to be staged. They said it was going to be served.
Oh, so then it's hot.
So it's probably quite
It's
hot.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
so it hits her front and she lets out an atrocious human honk, otherwise known as a scream. And as she does, she lurches forward and kicks poor knife artist Goose. Just as you are trying to bring your palette knife down to stab her in the foot, she gets in first. And the goose game yeeteth and the goose game yoinketh away. And you go tumbling ass over tea kettle backwards a couple of paces, and she is now crumpled over herself, clutching her ruined shirt away from her skin to keep from getting burned more, but she is still right there on top of Goose Teeth, who is still wrapped in his little cocoon of tablecloths, or in their cocoon of tablecloths.
I'm assuming I was unintentionally yeeted
You were
closer
unintentionally yeeted.
closer to Goose Teeth.
Yeah, let's say that you wound up a little bit closer to Goose Teeth, but
I'm
you
just
are
trying. I'm gonna try to get to Goose Teeth and rip the tablecloths off of him.
cool. Yeah, so give me let's make this a combo roll. Let's say it's a run to see if you can get over there before the maitre d' lady. And then it will be a peck for manipulating the cloths.
And I'm gonna try to help her. Like I'm gonna try to peck through if I can, and I'll hack the tablecloth.
Cool.
Okay, so I do make the run. 'cause I'm
Excellent.
flapping the whole way. And then I'm trying to peck out.
If you're okay with a little bit of color, you land on your back as you are yeeted, and then you do that like Goose version of spinning the legs to come up.
Yes! I'm a dancer too.
And I'm flapping and flailing and trying to in the cocoon.
All right, so go
You're
ahead and
probably
make that
covered in,
peck
like,
roll
soup.
with advantage because Goose Teeth is trying to help.
How much advantage?
So 1 extra die, and if either
Okay.
succeeds, you succeed.
Okay. Wow. I threw a die at myself. Hold on. Where'd it go? There.
The mayhem has spread to real life.
Right?
I made it.
Yes. So what does it look like as you get over there and manage to yoink the wrapping off of Goose Teeth?
So with Goose Teeth also flailing, like it becomes apparent the one like weird little knot thing that it's just like it's right there. And I just like pull it in just the way that he's flailing to. Also just goes blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And suddenly Goose Teeth is free.
And I emerge like a trash phoenix from the cloths.
I'm gonna say you grab it and you pull, and the tablecloth like unravels, and you go rolling out. And come out at the end like thoroughly dizzy but freed from your captivity.
Jump.
So there is a maitre d' currently covered in goose carnage. There is a food critic stuck in the curtains. There is a kitchen in chaos. We've got about 10 minutes till break. What is one more thing that folks would like to do before we head off to our break?
Many fancy restaurants have fireplaces. Does this one?
This one has a fireplace, let's say, yes, where the kitchen is. There's a big blank wall there, so they've got like a gas fire set into the wall there.
Many gas fireplaces, they have like one of those key things that like turns the flame up. I would like to calmly, since the maitre d' is quite distracted, waddle my way over to the key and simply turn it all the way up, and then maybe a little bit higher.
I mean, I was going to do that with the oil from the fry station, but I think you escalated it first.
And we thought stabbing was bad.
Let's add arson.
I have run this game so many times and never have the geese actually set something on fire yet.
That's surprising.
I was gonna say technically he hasn't though.
No, if anyone does it, I've got a bloody lightsaber.
I made the fire better.
Okay.
Clearly.
Yeah. Give me that peck roll to see if you are able to manipulate this key and twist it to turn the flame up.
Do I win ties when I'm not flapping?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then I got it. 2 at 2.
Nice. So yeah, you twist the key and the flame goes from a nice little crackle to a much bigger whoom, kind of still behind the glass of the fireplace.
I would like to open the glass.
Trying to remember the last time I was in a place fancy enough to have a fireplace like that. I'm going to say there's no hinges or anything to open the door. It's one of those that you would probably have to take the siding
Like a
off
pane?
and then unscrew it, and it would be a whole big thing. But you are more than welcome to try and smash your way through,
Yes.
including using if anyone has any useful objects.
Would I have rolled near there?
I'm going to say you rolled to the other side of the room, but
Okay.
you're more than able to get over if you would like to help
Yes.
out.
I'm debating if I see that or if I go with the other thing that I wanted to do. Is this a fancy place where the glasses are hanging from like above, like the cups and the wine glasses and whatnot?
I'll
They hung
say-
upside down.
there's no like special bar area, but you do see, because they were still getting set up for the day, there's one of those little service carts. And there's all sorts of stemware and whatnot on that little cart.
I am going to go up to it and hack it by pushing it at the fireplace.
All right. I don't even know what to get you to roll for this. Give me a run
And I will flap to push harder.
to see if you can get this thing up to ramming speed.
Ramming speed! I rolled a 2.
That is a success. Yes. What does it look like as you go pushing this cart full of stemware into the glass front of the gas fireplace?
So I start pushing with just my body at first, and once it starts moving and it starts pushing away from me, I jump up onto the handle and I grab it with my feet and I start flapping and pushing it forward, getting it to go faster and faster until it hits like the bottom part of the fireplace, and then it tipples over into the glass.
All right. So yeah, this cart smashes into the glass and there is a delightful spider web of cracks that is slowly spreading out from where the corner of this thing hit, as all of the glassware and plates and everything that had been stacked on top of the cart comes and whoomp, hits the front as well. Broken crockery everywhere. As the glass continues to spiderweb, but is not quite broken yet.
I know my next thing, but I think Zin still has to figure out their next move.
Well, I was going to assist actually because there are sharper knives in the kitchen. I was going to pass you one, but
You really are trying for murder here.
My goal is to harm them or harm the building, but give the people an opportunity to leave. I'm not trying to murder them directly.
well, considering I literally have a lethal weapon.
Come help us with this glass.
Murder is art, right?
We're like throwing sticks and stones at it. You have a fucking lightsaber. Honk, 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 honk.
There we go. Okay, sure. I hear the angry honking, and I'll make my way out of the kitchen and pull out the lightsaber and go help Zed with his quest to burn down the building.
All right, give me that good old peck roll to see if you can do this, and we'll make it with advantage. And I think this will be the last thing that we do before we go to break.
My feathered friends.
Oh, 2 successes.
2 successes. You super succeed.
One success. My bad. 1 success. Sorry, I miscalculated. But 1.
So you light up your lightsaber, and it makes that nice little shwum. And what does it look like as you carve the front of this fireplace open?
Oh, it stabs in and you see what is basically liquefied silicone kind of dripping down the edge of the glass as it slowly, I'm just carving like a square into it. It's not like a nice tidy circle, just
so it's roughly like hack, hack, hack. And the bottom line, like where you come across at the bottom, it's not quite high enough to meet.
Yeah, it's like a slanted line
at the side. So you have to do like an extra little slash to get up there. But as you do that final slash, this glowing outline of glass, just for a moment, it hangs there in the air beautifully, and everything is eerily still. And then it just ever so slowly tilts forward and then smash on the ground.
Deactivate the lightsaber.
And it does its thing where it goes back into the hilt.
I'm just giving a honk, a pleased kind of.
The most important question, actually, what color is your Goose's lightsaber?
I probably stole it off of some random person. It's either green or blue, I would think.
Okay.
Smushy face. I'm sorry.
Just some random person carries lightsabers.
Probably a little kid or something, but
Why would a little kid have an actual lightsaber?
You didn't know the
Have
difference.
you seen the age of some of those younglings?
So, yeah, they train
Well, I have
younglings
to
at the
go-
I mean,
temple.
I guess.
You pulled it from a Padawan.
Oh my god.
This is why it's small enough to fit in your beak. This all makes sense now.
Can we take a moment and appreciate the mental image of that Padawan having to go to like their Jedi
Chase
instructor
They are definitely kicked out of the academy.
and
Defeated
explain
by a
what
goose.
happened to that lightsaber?
Disarmed by a Goose master.
My lightsaber was stolen by Darth Goose.
All right. So the geese, you have thoroughly destroyed a couple of tablecloths. The kitchen is in absolute disarray. There is still a young man and his rat back in there. There is a maitre d' covered in all sorts of nonsense and a food critic tangled in the curtains.
And the ice sculpture.
And the ice sculpture has shattered the front window. With this scene of Chez Canard carnage around you, we will take about 5 to 10 minutes and head into break.
Carnage. Carnage.
I tried to make it work in my head too, and I couldn't get there.
Chez Carnage.
No.
So as we go to break, just a quick shout out and a huge thank you to all of our Patreons, our amazing patrons, especially those in our host with the most tier. You make this channel possible, where we create wonderful, open, inclusive gaming environments for people. Without you guys, this would not happen. Huge love to those top tier patrons of Capjack, Nerdy T, and Don Jago.
Whoop, whoop.
And you will hear
Honk,
about
honk.
other lovely folks who make this all happen during the break. So thank you, and we'll be right back.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you get a second during break, you should check out one of our amazing sponsors. We're now proudly sponsored by Roll20, the best virtual tabletop for all your role-playing needs. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with more modules than you can shake a stick at on their new revamped storefront, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. Sign up today by clicking the link below or heading to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Tabletop Loot is an amazing place to get your dice bags, dice boxes, and more. And now you can get 15% off your purchase at tabletoploot.com by using the code WTTPDICE at checkout. Tabletop Loot. Your party starts here. While you're at it, check out our so awesome merch store, So Nerdware. So Nerdware is the place to find all your Welcome to the Party merch and other amazing stuff too. Head on over to sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware. It's what the nerds wear. Devin Rue, the amazing mistress of maps, has kindly supported the channel since the beginning and provides graphics for many of our streams. Head on over to rueinc.com to check out some of the best fantasy cartography on the web. Our Patreon supports the creators and producers of the channel by providing Roll20 subscriptions, cost coverage for video hosting, and more. If you want to support the channel while getting podcasts a week early, gaming articles that are published on Patreon first, a shout out during our break, and more, head on over to patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg and throw us a buck or $5. And last, but certainly not least, help out the party. Subs and bits not only support the stream, but also every 500 bits or a tier 1 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a reroll or system equivalent, and every 1000 bits or tier 2 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a crit or system equivalent. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The game will be back in just a few minutes.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy, the chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello and welcome back. We had just left off with some geese ready to commit murder and or arson, depending on how geese are feeling. They have successfully infiltrated / destroyed Chez Canard restaurant, the Toast of Paris. And at this point, there are 4 destructive geese in there and with various implements, including a lightsaber, a cybernetic eye, a paint knife, and a stemmed glass of red wine, and
I just have a monocle.
Mm-hmm. A very distinguished goose bringing up the rear. They had managed to trap a food critic in the curtains, cover the maitre d' in red soup and berry juice, and there is a man trying to talk his rat into coming out from underneath the oven in the kitchen, and our geese have just lightsabered open the gas fireplace that is set into the wall, dividing the dining room from the kitchen area. What, my dear geese, would you like to do?
So while they've been doing all that, I actually want to wander to the front door because the restaurant's open. Is anybody out front?
There are indeed people out front. There is a slim French lady with like oversized Versace sunglasses and a Gucci bag with a chihuahua in it. And behind her is a family of tourists, and you can tell that they're American tourists because they're all wearing like shorts and white sneakers, even though it's not summer, they're still wearing that. Yeah, they're all standing out there looking somewhat nervously into the front of the restaurant, as the front window has in fact been smashed by the former duck ice sculpture.
I try to be less aggressive honking at them and try to communicate. Wait a second. I'm trying to use my wing to like say wait, just wait. And I run back to the group and I'm like, there's people. We could take over the restaurant. We could show them we're better.
That's a great idea. At that point, I'm going to go and run back up to the front, and I will take the pedestal that I originally hacked, and I will take control over this.
I will follow. I will grab a I will grab a napkin from off of one of the tables and drape it over a wing. Walk out front with the napkin over one wing, and then gesture inside.
Brilliant. Zed, go ahead and give me a honk roll to see if you can persuade these folks to come in. Make it at advantage because of your beautiful, dignified monocle and ever so gracious napkin over the wing.
Thank you. I rolled a 1 on one of the dice.
Brilliant. So what is it? So what is the response, let's say, of the fancy lady with the chihuahua as you beckon her in?
My hope is that she would see me, be momentarily confused, but then shrug and play along.
She is indeed confused.
Then sort of waddle my way, following or sort of like leading her over to a table, and I will hold out the napkined wing at a seat.
Yeah, she walks over to the seat and stands behind it and just kind of lets out a muffled human honk.
I waddle and try to pull the seat out.
Give me a peck roll to see how well you are able to pull this lady's chair out for her.
I'm going to hack the terminal and tell it that there is a person there.
I am really struggling with this chair. I got a 5.
So how does this go so horribly wrong as you try to pull the chair out for the lady?
I initially tried pulling it, and that proves to be a struggle. So I waddle my way under it, and I try to like push from the other side, but I stand up a little too early and just topple the chair behind me.
The lady lets out a little, again, human, small mue honk of disappointment or disdain, picks up the chair and waits for you to
Like, get out of her
looks
way.
down at you, waiting for you. Mhm.
Yeah.
And then seats herself and puts her bag with her chihuahua underneath the chair and looks expectantly at you.
I will take a menu from off of another table and flop it in front of her.
Oh, merci beaucoup, she says, and she
Honk.
starts reading the menu.
After I've told them that there's people and we should serve them, I'm gonna run into the kitchen and try to see if there's anybody, because I don't know that there's anybody at this point.
There is a slender looking red-haired chef looking very dismayed at the carnage around him.
I'm still in the kitchen.
Sorry?
I'm still in the kitchen too.
And Shin is back there. Or sorry, Lightsaber Goose is back there with their lightsaber.
Yep.
Yuck. There's people. We should feed them. How do I tell him that he needs to make food?
I head over to the human and
I'm walking with.
Okay, so a knife and a lightsaber, delightful. I'm gonna gently poke him in the shoulder with my beak.
Yeah, so this young man is still on the ground, like reaching under the oven, trying to get his rat out from under there. Give me peck rolls, both of you, to see if you are able to peck him in the shoulders.
I miss. That's a 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Take it. Okay, so yeah, you peck him in the shoulder. Lightsaber Goose, you go to peck him in the shoulder, but you miss and you get a beak full of his hair. Just as he is pecked in the shoulder. This is working out so perfectly. He jerks backwards, and as he jerks backwards, the hair that is in his beak gets pulled, and his arm just goes flying, almost of its own will, up into the air.
I spit it out and jump back as fast as possible.
And his arm falls down again, and he looks
at him.
Yuck. I'm like kind of backing up towards the door and trying to point out there, be like, yuck.
Quick question.
Yuck.
Portia or Zin, have either of you seen Ratatouille?
No.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
I know the basic premise, though.
I've seen it, so.
I'm trying really hard to make it happen, but if it doesn't, that's cool too. Yeah. So he wanders over to the door and looks out, and he sees the food critic who has just managed to work his way out of the curtain and has sat back down, looking very unhappy that he does not have any of that beautiful 68 Burgundy anymore. And he sees out
into the dining room.
He sees the fancy French lady with it's not gonna be a Chihuahua. It's got to be like a mini poodle. That's more French.
No,
so she's got a mini poodle.
Either a poodle or like a papillon or something.
Yeah, or like a Bichon Frise or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's got a tiny curly-haired dog in a purse, and he sees her sitting there with the menu, and he sees Monocle Goose leading in this family of tourists from Texas who have just taken a seat by another window. And he looks back into the kitchen where there are 2 geese and now a rat who is looking somewhat fearfully at you, Geese. And he looks out at the humans and the Monocle Goose and is like,
I start waddling towards him with his wine glass still in my mouth. And I go very slowly as I get closer, and I tuck my knife away. and I reach my beak towards his hand.
Towards the red-haired guy's hand, or
during the food critic.
Okay, so yeah, the food critic picks up his butter knife and holds it kind of off to the side, but reaches down and picks up the glass. And he does the little swirly, sniffy thing, and where you suck it in, and like.
I saw what Monocle Goose was trying to do, so I go back to the table he was sitting at, and I try to pull out the chair
All right, go ahead and give me a peck roll to see if you succeed at pulling out this chair.
And I'm gonna flap as I pull it because I am not a big goose. I'm a small goose.
And I'm also going to hack on the terminal to say that this family is here for food and like set off whatever alarm I can to make them start making food.
So red-haired guy in the kitchen, beeping starts in the terminal back there. Lightsaber Goose, you can hear from the freezer the whir thunk of the little droids trying to get out of the now locked freezer with all the different food ingredients.
Is it possible for me to unlock the thing?
Yeah, totally.
Or, no, you know what? I'm going to, because the human is still near me, right?
The human is still near you.
I'm going to honk at him and then look at the freezer and then look back at him like, hello.
Give me a honk check to see if this human is able to understand you.
Honk. Okay, thank God that's a 2.
Awesome.
That would have been
Nice.
shitty otherwise.
He ever so slowly like edges his way along the wall, never quite turning his back to the goose,
Nice.
and walks over to the freezer and pushes the button, and there's a little bing, and the door opens, and like this droid just starts booking it back and forth to the prep counter because those buttons were mashed for a very, very long time, and there is a huge back order of stuff. The red-haired guy looks at this and just his eyes kind of go huge as he takes a look at the screen that like displays what all's been ordered. And he gets to one of the stations and he's like, okay, and starts very awkwardly chopping an onion, very slowly and painfully chopping this onion.
I succeeded in pulling out the chair, apparently.
Brilliant. The critic looks rather pleased and takes a seat. So
I try to look, is there a menu somewhere?
there is a menu that the lady with the little bichon frisé is reading.
I need to find a different menu because I don't think I'm supposed to take it. Ooh.
For what it's
Give
worth,
me
has the
a
lady selected
peck
what she
roll.
wants yet?
Not yet. She's still looking over it.
Give me what am I giving you?
A peck roll.
Okay. I'm kind of wandering around, like jumping up at tables. Nope, I fail horribly.
Yep, the menus were on top of that little service cart that got rammed into the fireplace, and the menus burned up in the gas fireplace. Yeah. So there's the one that the lady has. There might be another one up on the Mater D station, like in the little shelves that they have
That
behind
was
it.
where I was gonna check next.
Okay, yeah. I'll say that you find 2 more back there, so each table can have 1 menu.
Well,
Okay.
I will help her find one.
Okay.
I pick one up and I set it with the food critic guy.
He ever so delicately takes it and just kind of like purses his lips at you a little bit, but opens it and starts to read.
I'm like walking around happy now. I'm like, ha, 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 we're so much better. Got people seated.
Goose Teeth, Lightsaber Goose. Are there anything that either of you would like to do?
I would like to find that stand that the goose or the duck sculpture was on. And I want to try to stand it back up, and I want to stand on it and be the statue.
Yes. Let's make this a combo move again. So it's going to be a peck to pick something up, although if you want to attract attention to get some help, you can. And then it will be a honk to persuade people that you are indeed a beautiful ice sculpture of a goose.
I will flap to get it up, and then I will roll honk in a second. All right.
Since I'm coming over there, will help flap it up.
Okay.
Brilliant. Roll 2d6, and if either succeed, you succeed.
I rolled a 1.
Yes.
Yay!
So it takes some honking and groaning, but you manage to get under there with your beaks and then all the way under. And eventually this thing goes plonk, 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 and it wiggles back and forth very, very much so, and then it just kind of settles.
All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and jump up there, and I'm going to be the statue.
Okay. Give me a honk roll to see how well you are able to convince people that you are a majestic goose statue.
I rolled a 2.
Which is a 6. What does your pose look like as you assume your statue position?
I picture I will have my wings out and just...
So it's like this beautiful, I'm picturing like those Art Deco angel statues almost.
Basically. Like just wings out.
Yeah, and it works. The family of tourists immediately starts taking out all of their cell phones and like snapping pictures of you. And the food critic guy kind of gives a little, okay. Things are turning around a little bit, maybe. So.
I will waddle my way back to the lady who was ordering, the French lady. And I will indicate with my beak the menu. Has she selected what she would like?
Yes, and a torrent of very fluid sounding human honks come at you.
I look at her, I shake my head, and then I point at the menu with my beak.
She gives a little sniff, and another long stream of fluid sounding honks come out of her mouth, and you get the feeling that she is being a little bit snooty about this. But she does point at 3 different places on the menu.
Excellent. I dip my beak in some of the mess on the floor and use it to underline the 3 things she picks. And then I take the menu and I waddle my way back to the kitchen.
Please take a horrible point, because that is like the most ingenious thing I have had a player do in this game. That's incredible.
I didn't realize we're going to be playing Untitled Goose Restaurant Simulator.
I know, right?
All of the mobile games just getting shout outs tonight, apparently. So you run back there.
Little rat friend?
Sorry?
No, go on. No, I was going to ask if has the little rat friend come out from under the stove yet?
Little rat friend has come out from under the stove.
As if there is nothing I should be doing otherwise, I walk over to where it looks like orders might be left, or perhaps the cutting board nearest the chef, and I just drop the menu and indicate the underlines, and then I walk back out.
And Lightsaber Goose, you are still in the kitchen?
Yes, I'm kind of so the human little rat friend is not with the human, yes?
Nope, rat friend has just crawled out from underneath the oven or the stove and is looking kind of anxiously around at the mess of the kitchen.
Okay. What is the human doing? He's just had the menu dropped in front of him.
The human is laboriously still chopping that same damn onion, because the human has no knife skills without the rat.
Is it? I don't know if interspecies communication is possible.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Worked last game.
What would happen? What would I have to roll if I wanted to pick up the rat and bring it over to the human? Because apparently,
the hell out.
I'm going to say it's your choice whether it's a peck or a run.
I'll take peck.
Okay.
Hey, that is a 1. Hooray! I'm going to pick him up and like kind of half dangling this rat from my beak, walk over and just like shove him at the human.
He is letting out squeaky little honks the entire way.
I'm just gonna like shove him against the human, like shove the top of my head against the human's leg, like, hey, you dropped something.
The human looks remarkably unfazed by animals trying to take charge in his life, and just takes the rat and just takes the rat from you and plonks the rat on top of his head.
This poor guy, I swear.
At which point the rat grabs a couple of fistfuls of his hair and starts yanking on them with no purpose as far as you can see. But all of a sudden that onion is chopped and he is moving on to the next thing. He picks up the menu, looks at it. A couple of slightly less fluid than the lady with the dog's honks come out of his mouth. The rat nods and boom, they are off to the races, cooking all sorts of marvelousness.
I'm going to scooch to the side and start stockpiling knives.
Oh no.
Lightsaber Goose is actually arms dealer Goose.
I want to have brought a menu to this tourist family.
Yep.
And plunked it down at their table. And having observed Monocle Goose, I'll kind of like point and hyunk and draw underlines with my nose. And then look at them expectantly.
Some extraordinarily loud honks come out of the goose that has the most hair piled on, or the human that has the most hair piled on top of her head. And she, all of a sudden, the two kid or child humans get up and like everyone crowds around this menu, and there is just chaos as they are discussing what is on there and what they want to have. But one of the kids pulls a crayon out from her pocket and starts circling things in big, messy circles that indicates what they want.
I wait until they finish.
And the human with the big fluffy hair and the human who is also quite large but has less fluffy hair have a quick and rather heated sounding conversation for a moment, and then she hands the menu back to you and you take it back to the kitchen and
but I stand there because now I don't know what to do with it.
So yeah, you are standing there with a menu that has had a whole bunch of things circled in crayon.
But I look at Lightsaber Goose.
Lightsaber Goose is in the kitchen and you are in the dining room.
Oh, I was saying I went back toward the kitchen.
Oh, you went back to the kitchen. Sorry.
Because that's what I saw Monocle Deuce do. So I'm just imitating.
Monocle Deuce.
I mean,
Monocle Goose. Young. So.
Oh, there's going to be some amazing web caption things out of that.
I didn't need to.
Yeah, so Lightsaber Goose, Artist Knife Goose is standing there with a piece of paper in her beak.
Yeah.
Except you have try that again because you have a piece of paper in your beak. So it might sound
I kind of tilt my head towards the human, like, and hold up both wings, like, look, I don't have thumbs. What do you want me to do?
I try to jump up and like nudge the human with it.
Again, remarkably unfazed by animals taking charge in his life, he grabs it out of you, honks at the rat on top of his head a couple of times, and sets it aside, and continues chopping things.
Yunk!
Oh man.
And I guess I waddle back out.
You do such a good Goose impression. It's amazing.
I go check outside. Are there still more people, or have we let everyone in who wants in?
That is all the NPGs, non-player characters, geese that I have created. So everyone's come inside.
I walk inside and I nudge the door closed. And then I flip the open sign to closed.
Okay.
We've locked them in here with us, haven't we?
The window's open.
That's true.
The fireplace is open.
You said it, not me.
The lady with the Bichon Frise and the Texas family look remarkably unalarmed, but the food critic has suddenly stood up from his table, knocking his chair over. And all of the other tall, unfeathered geese are now looking at the food critic.
I look at the food critic and I just let out one low, long honk.
He picks up the butter knife.
Honk. As I'm like gesturing for him to sit. Honk.
He slowly sits.
Honk. Happily, as I waddle back towards the kitchen.
I have to go back to the food critic and get his order because I don't know what he wants. So I'm gonna waddle back. I have tucked my knife very nicely under my wing.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck. And I kind of like, I'm trying to like do the like pointy underliney thing with my beak, and I look at him.
He is visibly shaking at this point.
Probably for the best that I don't go out there.
But he honks rather no, not yours. But he honks rather fluidly at the family from Texas, and they give him the crayon, and he circles just one thing on the menu.
I honk happily at the child who had the crayon. And then I turn back at the food critic.
Mm-hmm. He looks at Monocle Goose as if asking permission. As soon as Monocle Goose nods, he hands you the menu.
And I waddle to the kitchen.
I'm now at the window to the kitchen, waiting for food and honking somewhat impatiently.
The poor human and the rat are frantically cooking, running back and forth between all of the different stations, occasionally flying, going on for amazing butt skids as they try desperately or as they wind their way around all of the spilled food and whatnot.
You're in the fucking weeds, mate! I mean, honk. Honk, honk.
He looks up at you and just honks back, I know, and just goes back to cooking immediately.
I'm somewhat taken aback, and then I just wait.
Wait, did he speak goose?
He was doing human honks, so it's up to you folks if you understand human honk.
It's like a Han Solo and Chewbacca kind of a relationship.
Just for you two, because I don't understand human.
Are there any like filled plates near the staging area?
Nothing that's ready to go. You can see where,
I'm kind of
where it's all been laid
hopped
out.
up beside there, keeping an eye on things, so I can see into the kitchen. And
I try to find more of the bottles.
You know, someone who's only reading the closed captioning will get a terrible version of what's happening. Because Zin's definitely said poo plates, and that's absolutely not what we're going for yet.
And apparently mine never updated on the screen. Like, mine is updating here, but it's not updating up there.
Oh, bummer.
Well, it is what it is.
Oh, no, it is.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, I totally lost track of where we were in the game with that.
I'm waiting for my order to be up.
I realized that we knocked a bottle off of the food critic's table. Are there more bottles somewhere?
There are more bottles somewhere.
I want to find one.
Okay, so the red-haired chef puts a plate up on the counter and goes to ding a bell, but accidentally hits Lightsaber Goose's butt instead of a bell.
Very loud and indignant honk.
And so, Monocle Goose, you know that there is the first order up.
And I whip my head around and glare at him menacingly.
He backs up and makes a sorry. kind of hand thing.
I scooch aside so he doesn't hit me on the next round.
I will take the first plate and head over to the French lady.
Ow.
Give me a peck roll to see how well you do at carrying this plate of food without spilling it, because I have worked in food service, and let me tell you, that sounds like it should be easy until you've got like high pressure situations with sauces that must be just so.
She may receive some of her food, but I rolled a 4 over a 2.
Oh my god.
We can't slap anymore.
I would like to point out, she should be fucking impressed.
You carried a plate.
Yeah, so you carry it, but it is like sideways in your beak. It is tilting because there's something heavier on one side than on the other. Yep. Weaving all the way through the restaurant. And you get to her table, and what had been like a beautiful Waldorf salad thing is now like 2 pieces of lettuce and a walnut on there.
Honk. Honk, honk. I will then look around for a pepper grinder.
If you slip, you're gonna hit her in the head with this.
There's one over by the fireplace because it was also on the little service cart.
I grab the pepper grinder, and then I'm gonna have to flap up onto the back of her chair, so that I can then lean the pepper grinder on her shoulder to twist my head to make it grind pepper over her shoulder.
Your choice whether this is a run or a peck.
I choose run, and I am flapping.
Okay.
Hooray! I succeeded.
Yeah, so you are up behind her, and you managed to grind pepper mostly on her plate.
Okay. I have peppered her leaves. I then hop off her chair, and I honk, and then I head back and wait for more plates.
And the most like English honk.
Yes.
And she picks up a fork and takes a bite, and you kind of hear her make a yummy noise honk.
Seeing that everyone is having issues bringing food to customers, I am going to jump down from being my statue self and go over to the cart that I pushed originally and try to move it back over towards the kitchen so it can be used to deliver food.
Okay. Give me a peck to see if you are able to right the cart and push it.
Can I assist with righting the cart and flapping to right it?
Flap.
When I see that, can I jump down and assist?
Yeah, totally. So that'll be 3d6, and it's only a 1d6 roll. So if any of them succeed, you manage to get the cart back up.
Do it. I got a 2 out of like 4. Yeah, because of the 3 because of the house.
Nice. You managed to roll the cart back over to the service window.
Yes.
Yeah. At which point the chef with the red hair puts another plate onto it and dings the bell, checking this time to make sure he is not going to hit a goose on the bum. And once he sees that it is
I'm
clear,
out of the way. He's fine.
I will look at the monocle goose or the art goose and you have cart.
I tried to hold cart with beak and push cart to the family because I'm assuming it's theirs.
And I will assist. Yes.
What I roll?
I'm gonna say with both of you, yeah, you can get over to the family's table, no problem. So, and then you just pull up next to the table, and there is one plate of food on it. And
I look at them because they know who to do. Yuck!
And the goose with all of the hair piled on top of her head kind of honks at everyone at the table, and they all honk back, and she just kind of looks down at you and
Okay, I guess we go to the lady. We try her. We try French lady.
Yes, push over.
Yeah.
So yeah, you push over to the French lady, and she looks down at the food and lets out a stream of very fluid sounding honks at you.
Yeah.
Give me a honk roll to see if you are able to either determine what this lady is saying or communicate what you are doing with her.
I am attempting to flap in motions of communication of being like yes or no.
Okay.
And I communicate effectively.
Sweet. She looks down at you and at which point the food critic kind of gingerly raises one shaky finger into the air.
We push carts.
Uh-huh.
Yuck, 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 yuck. And we push cart next to him.
Brilliant.
Yuck.
He nods and then looks at the plate and then looks at the table and then looks at the plate and looks at the table.
I'm gonna push the cart closer.
He looks at you.
I will come and assist with moving the plates from the cart to the table.
He's taller than us.
So now we need a peck roll to see if you are able to pick up the plate and put it on the table without spilling.
I'm gonna push it with my beak underneath to see if I can help level it.
Cool. Go ahead and roll advantage then. Oh, cat.
Ah, with advantage, I make it on a tie.
Brilliant. Does it look like as you two geese beautifully pass this plate of food over?
We're playing almost as sort of a goose on a goose thing, where like, because I kind of have to flap a little bit to get up to get the plate.
And I think I'm flapping and like trying to hold it on this side and then trying to hold it on this side and then trying to hold it from underneath so it doesn't tip over.
Yes.
And then once I put the plates down, I will nudge the food critic's elbow towards his fork.
And I'm going to jump up onto the table and stand there and stare at him and just wait.
Give me a honk roll to see if you can intimidate the food critic into taking a bite of this food while you are all watching.
That is a 1.
A 1. That
Yes.
super succeeds. So yeah, you get right up in there and you look at him with your crazy goose eyes. And it's hilarious because they're kind of on either side of your head. So you have to like keep turning your head back and forth to do it, but somehow you still manage to stare him down. Very good, goose teeth. Nope. Sorry, I've got a cat messing with my camera.
Goose teeth, you just hacked a human.
Okay, there we go. He is the one incandescent bulb in the house is the little book light that I use to light my face, and he is trying very hard to get it because it's warm.
Silly kitty.
So, okay. Yeah, you stare him down. He takes his fork and shakily takes a bite of the food. And when he eats the food, it's like in a movie whenever someone gets high and you just see their pupils go whoop and just dilate to fill their entire eyes. And he takes that first bite and is absolutely still for a moment. And then he unfreezes and he just starts shoveling food into his mouth.
Yuck, yuck, yuck. And I go back to the cart and I go pushing it back to the window.
I will help.
And he finishes it very, very quickly, and he takes his napkin out from where he has tucked it into his shirt, and he lays it next to the plate on the table, and he sits there in what looks like profound satisfaction for a very, very long time.
Excellent.
Mm.
We will deal with him soon.
This guy is going for a roller coaster ride tonight.
Oh yes.
Yep.
I honk to the others. Honk, honk. Once we serve the last family, honk, honk, honk. We begin the end game. Honk, honk.
Honk. What end game? Honk.
Honk, honk.
My question.
Fireplace. Honk, honk.
So keep
Okay.
them warm.
Sure.
Like
honk,
that?
honk.
For the rest of their lives, yes.
However
That's
short they may
special.
be. Okay, Goose Master question. Do you want to cook the humans, or do you want to let them out before setting this place on fire?
I mean, the back door is still open.
The back door is still
the
open?
front window is smashed. The door is closed but not locked. That
Okay.
my goal, what I
Mhm.
would like to have happen is while they're all distracted eating, to begin feeding tablecloths into the fireplace.
And I'm
Okay.
going to push the carts in front of the open window to block it as best I
Wow.
can.
Whoa. Okay.
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 I'm not
Right.
down with any of this. I am so proud of us. We're feeding people. We're proving we're better than ducks. Ducks murder people, not geese. I'm not okay.
You have shamed me.
You were my inspiration.
Become Russian.
I lower my head.
When did you become Russian?
Give me a honk roll to see how well you are able to persuade your fellow geese, not only to not murder the human, but to protect your incredible masterpieces that have been created on the wall of this restaurant.
We run a restaurant. I'm successful. We should be running a restaurant. We can feed all the people.
All right. So, yeah, you spy Monocle Goose taking the tablecloths that had previously been wrapped around Goose teeth and dragging them over towards the fireplace. And you are able to get in Monocle Goose's way and prevent him from putting those tablecloths into the fireplace at this point.
I lower my head in shame. And then I waddle. Is there an upstairs? Or where is the sign for this restaurant? It's outside. What's it attached to?
There is an upstairs to the building. We'll say it's not clear where it accesses from downstairs. Yeah, so it's not clear where it accesses from downstairs.
Okay.
But there is a sign up on the second story of this building.
I will waddle and then hop through the window.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the sign and I'm looking for a ladder or some other way up to the sign.
I will follow Monocle Goose to see if he needs assistance with that.
Yeah, there's a ladder, not a letter.
Ladder, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say there's a trellis along the side of the windows and ivy is growing on that trellis. And so you could climb up the ivy to the sign if you would like.
What are you trying to do, Zed? Zed, what are you trying to do?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. That was role playing, the leaning in. I'm looking at the sign and I look at you. I look at the sign and then I point to artist Goose's like no ducks on the wall.
There is another outline of a duck on the sign.
And
can I flap my way up nearby, like to the roof or the trellis nearby, to a place where I can sit, basically, near the duck specifically?
Yeah, give me a run roll to see how close you're able to get.
Flapping furiously as I go, by the way. 2. So with a bit of effort. I'm assuming if it's like a trellis, I would be sitting on the top with the wooden duck or whatever vessel. What is it made out of?
Yeah, so there's the wall, and then the sign, there's like a bracket that comes out 90 degrees from the wall, and the sign hangs down from it. So you can land on top of that bracket if you want and kind of reach down and grab the duck. Or let's say there's fancy like wrought iron scroll work that's also hanging down kind of next to the sign, and so you're able to perch on that.
Okay. When I'm perched there, I would like to take out my lightsaber, activate it, and then decapitate the duck.
That's the exact symbolism I wanted.
Just for you, my friend. Just for you.
Honk honk.
Give me a peck roll.
Excellent. Again, flapping furiously to keep my balance. 3.
And what is your peck? Is that a 3?
My peck is a 2, but I'm adding flap.
But you're flapping. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you succeed. Paint the picture for me, so to speak. What does it look like as you decapitate this duck?
Okay, so I assume it's like if that's the side of the building, the bracket comes out horizontally, and I'm sitting on the top. Mm-hmm. Wings flared out for balance. I've kind of, you see, lightsaber goes lean over, like head down, holding the saber in the beak, and just flick, and you hear clink, 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 as the decapitated metal head goes rolling down the street.
Nice.
Pull up, look satisfied.
I'm going to say that if you're okay with this, as you slice through the duck on the sign, mid-slice, your lightsaber changes color. And it is no longer a peaceful blue-green, but it has changed to a Sithly red.
I am very satisfied.
And Darth Feather has indeed risen again.
Now, while everyone is outside doing all these things, I would like to find a way to get to the top of the chimney for the fireplace to close. And I'm going to start doing what Monocle Goose was doing and pull all of the tablecloths into the fireplace while they're outside. So you don't know what's happening.
I did go outside.
Yeah, you did.
This is true.
No, I didn't.
I thought you did.
They did.
Knife artist Goose did not go outside. Okay. That was Monocle Goose and Lightsaber Goose.
I will yell at you. Yuck, 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 yuck.
GVG.
I pushed the cart back to the window to get more food.
Well, I put the cart at the front window.
Oh, right. Well, I go
in front of the window, yeah. So while you're doing that, I'm putting the cloths into the fire.
Yuck!
No! I feel really bad saying no to this idea twice, but I also want to respect the people who are like not wanting to murder all of the humans in this place. So we'll say that the fire alarm from the kitchen earlier had stopped. Now that the tablecloths have gotten into the fireplace, they smolder for a little while because it's a gas fireplace, so it's not super warm and hot. But as they start to smolder, then the fire alarms in this room, in the dining area, go off, along with, finally, the
Mhm.
sprinkler system.
Mhm.
Like, at which point all of the humans in the room start to panic, and they run for the door. The family from Texas was seated closest to the door. They get there first. They're scrumming out. And
The door's locked.
the door is closed, so it takes them a moment to like yank it open and figure out how to get out there, whether it's a push door or a pull door. um, and the lady with the bichon frise grabs her dog and like shelters the dog underneath her body,
Aw.
because must protect puppers.
Pupper.
And starts heading for the front door. The food critic is just sitting there in an absolute stupor of satisfaction, though.
I'm running over to him.
Mhm.
Yuck!
Give me a honk roll to see if you are able to snap him out of his stupor. Please do it with advantage for your dedicated honking throughout the game.
I succeed. Yes, I succeed. Actually, I succeed twice because I tied one.
Double success. What is his reaction as you come over and honk dramatically at him?
Probably at first just being like, and then suddenly like hearing sets back in and he realizes he's wet and he's looking around and he's like, oh. And he like gets up and goes to the door. Just
With-
like, okay.
with
I think maybe he might have picked up his wine glass on the way, though.
Yep.
Just being like, no. Like he starts to go, and then he goes. And he,
It's like
takes
that
it with
one
him.
guy in Jurassic World that carries the two wine glasses, the margarita glasses with him.
He 1000% grabs that glass of 68 Burgundy and takes it with him as he goes.
All
And
watered down
as
as
he-
it is.
As he reaches the front door, he kind of turns to you, Artist Knife Duck, or Goose, and raises the glass and takes a sip before turning and heading out the door into the night.
Wait. Before he goes. So I do have one further goal.
Okay.
So on his way out,
Mhm.
as he is like walking out the door, there are two quick things I attempt to do. One, the ice sculpture that I had smashed. One of the things I want to do when I came out here was to find the head of the duck. Is that still intact?
Just because I want to see where this goes, yes.
I grabbed the duck head. As the critic is walking out the door and he turned back so he's not facing me, I stand right behind his legs so that when he turns, he falls over me onto the ground.
I'm going to say that is very sneaky, so give me a duck roll to see how successful you are at all that.
Weirdly,
Use your horrible point.
Or you can
I
you have a horrible point.
I will use my horrible point.
It automatically succeeds. Describe this glorious fiasco. Paint the
Okay.
picture for us.
I wait behind him, and as he turns, he trips over me and falls. He manages to save his wine glass by holding it above him. But I then waddle out from underneath his legs, staring him in the eyes, holding the duck head in my beak, and I crush it.
Wow.
I also kind of picture the
Honk.
duck head's probably covered in that wine or whatever that
Oh,
Arcus
yeah,
was
yeah,
using,
yeah.
so it looks like blood just exploded everywhere.
Then it
Yes.
honk. Mm.
He
And then I waddle back inside and close the door angrily.
he just stares. And like this was a food critic formerly. Now it is the broken shell of a man.
and for my last action, I want to hop up onto where the broken window is and just start ranting about wanting to tear down the world around us and bring us all to anarchy so we can all be free.
Honk capitalism.
Basically.
Yeah, give me
That
a
needs to
honk
be the
roll.
tagline. That's the tagline of this
Honk
game. Honk
cast.
capitalism.
Give me a honk roll to see how many
2.
you are able to. 2. That is a success. Okay. Do you mind if I narrate this one? Okay, you stand, and this will be the last thing for the evening, or for the game, I think, folks, before we do our outros and get ready to go to bed. You stand on the window and raise your wings in glory, and you start honking about how capitalism has failed Goosemanity, and it is time for it to end. And you see, spread all throughout the royal gardens across the street, birds, not just geese, but birds of all sorts are starting to pay attention. And at first it is just the other geese, but then there's a few ducks, and then the pigeons. And all of these feathered folk start to gather, hearing your call with squawks and caws and coos of outrage as they begin to pour in through the broken window. And because they're birds, they crap everywhere, because that's what birds do. And they start grabbing more of the tablecloths and throwing them into the fireplace. And as the restaurant starts to go up in flames, they pour back out through the windows over the streets of Paris, ready to spread their birdly messages of capitalist destruction to the French. The end.
So it's not just the prequel to the birds so much as perhaps the French Revolution.
Yes.
Distribute the means of production. Honk, honk, honk.
Oh my god.
What the
Yeah, so that went places.
So this is what happens when you play this game.
That was amazing. Holy shit. I want to do this again.
Yep.
That was so cathartic.
So I know we're probably going to wrap up a little bit early, but I think we will wrap up there. Let's go around the table in our original order, and I'll get everyone to say who you are, where we can find you online. If you want to shout out something that you really enjoyed tonight, either that you did or someone else at the table did, that would be lovely. So we will start with Portia, just to put a little bit of pressure on you.
It's okay. Hi, I am Portia. You can find me mostly on Instagram. I'll be honest, I have a Twitter. I only cross post from Instagram. My Instagram is Mrs_OG Cron. Honestly, like, I heard about the game. Zed told me about it, the video game, and he got it, and he was like, here's this thing. He started playing it, I watched him, and then I went kind of nuts, which is a normal pathway for us. So, like, just being able to personify and make my own goose, along with seeing what everybody else's geese were like, that was my enjoyment of tonight. Like, all the decisions were insane, like anarchy, murder, chaos, arson, all the rest. It was really just the idea of, like, we got to change and personalize these geese to ourselves, and I really enjoyed that. So
Don't forget hospitality.
oh,
Yes.
we were trying so hard. I'm so sad I wanted a restaurant.
Zed.
Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter at ZX. It's under my name here on the overlay. I often run things for Welcome Party, but I am taking a bit of time because it's nice to remind myself what life is like.
A season of sanity.
Yeah. As far as tonight, this was transcendent. This was lovely. This was everything I would ever hope for in an Untitled Goose game. I loved the way everyone's geese sowed chaos in their own goosely ways. Um, yeah, I have nothing but warm fuzzies about this evening. So thank you. In particular, everything we did to the critic.
That poor man.
Oh my God.
He went for a ride, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Shin, Lightsaber Goose, where can we find you online?
Y'all can find me on Twitter at xin_115. I'm occasionally here and there on Twitch, on various streams. That's about it for me. Favorite thing for tonight, just the sheer amount of mayhem that 4 determined birds can cause. That was delightful. It was very cathartic. I had a lot of fun. It was very cathartic and I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Boshi.
So, my name is Boshi Adams, Boshi_Adams on both Twitch and Twitter. I will be trying to do streams on my own. I also will try to be here with Welcome to the Party and Chromatic Chimera. Trying to do more games, generate my presence in the online community as well as tabletop roleplay games in general. Tonight was great. Since like I took a backseat a little bit every so often and just was doing silly stuff on camera and everything while everybody else was sewing madness. I think my favorite thing still though is just how intimidated that that critic was of Monocle Goose. Like, just so terrified of him. It's probably my favorite thing. I also really like how we went from just sewing chaos to wanting to run a restaurant back to sewing chaos.
Things can only function so long in society.
Yeah. This was great. This was just as fun as the last time I played with you all, or with this game with Ulfrig running it. Because the last one we were in a shopping mall, and that was just as hysterical as this was, and it was great. I look forward to doing this again because I want to keep making different geese and keep sowing madness in very different ways.
I just put in our own chat, but I want to say thank you, Ulfrig, for running this.
Yes,
for
thank you.
Being open to our insanity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This was really an awesome experience tonight.
Ulfrig, what did you like?
Oh my gosh, there was so much. I liked working in the Ratatouille references. I always think that's fun as a DM to play that kind of meta game. And because I am a giant nerd, I love decapitating the duck with the lights.
That was awesome.
I had to. I just had to.
To finish up our delightful outros, I go by Ulfrig online. I can be kind of hard to find because I go into stealth mode. So I'd like to throw some light on other fun things that you can find. This game comes from the 200-word RPG challenge. It was one of the entries last year. You can check them out on 200wordrpg.github.io. They have everything from augmented reality games to this. And they're all 200 words or less, so super easy casual games to just jump into and do whatever you want with. Thank you so much for encouraging new creators. I know that's what they're all about there. Anyone can submit, you can play any of their games for free. And you can find me on New to the Party on Thursdays with Shin, where we are both playing The First Ember, a Star Wars hack of Airlock. So far, we have wound up on a desert planet, and we are trying to figure out whether we're going to save, kill, use, who knows, something.
Possibly all of the above.
Possibly all of the above. A Jedi Knight who has also wound up on this planet. So it's a very good nerdy time if you would like to check it out. A huge thank you just before we go once again to all of our fantastic sponsors. Thank you as well to everyone who participated in chat tonight. It was hilarious watching all of folks' different comments. If you liked what you saw here, check us out on Welcome to the Party, that is on Discord and Patreon. And with that, I think that Welcome to the Party is wrapping up for the night, but we are going to raid. So please get your emotes and your honks ready, and we will take it on over to Dump Stack Charisma. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honk, honk, honk. Honk, 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 honk.